Hi everyone, welcome to week 2, and looks like y'all got started pretty good on the week 1 work. So hopefully you are taking a look at the equity checklist, and you are going to plan on taking that into your classroom this week and just doing a survey of how equity shows up, areas where maybe more focus is needed or maybe just more intentional. So most of you are in your own classroom, but if you're not, you can do this while you're teaching, and I know you're at least teaching portions of the day, or you can do it in terms of your clinical teacher. I just would recommend, if you are doing it with your clinical teacher, that you let them look at it, you talk about the purpose of it and the opportunity to just see where equity can be more of a focus. So for week 2, you're going to start on a couple of things. First, you're going to try to choose the focus for your STEM project, and you're going to also respond in the equity discussion forum. So we'll start with that one. It's the easiest to explain. So for this one, just review the resources under weeks 1 and 2 around equity and STEM. Talk with your colleagues, meaning your fellow teachers, your classmates, your people that are in your profession. And additionally, look up some of your own resources. I've posted some in the NSTA Learning Center, but also you can just, find some articles on equity and STEM. So in the forum, respond to the following questions, and then we will talk a little more about these during our class time on week 3, Saturday, when we meet in person. So how has STEM education been impacted by inequitable representation, especially among certain populations? What might have contributed to some populations being reluctant to engage in STEM? Content, courses, or even employment. What are a couple of strategies that you've read about, heard about, learned about as you have done some research that might improve this representation? And what are at least two of the barriers that make it challenging to foster equitable STEM education? So this is your discussion forum for this week. Should be pretty self-explanatory. So in this one, you do need to respond yourself and then respond to your classmates. And since there are only 3 of you, you can respond to both of them. Lastly, you're going to do the STEM project focus selection. So now is where you start to decide how are you going to and what are you going to plan for your 3 to 5 lesson unit. So I just want to remind you that this unit that you're planning for this class can very possibly be a part of your teaching unit that you have to plan for your student teaching and or your TPA assessment, but it doesn't have to be. So if you find that trying to plan a STEM unit is not aligning with what you will be teaching or what you need to focus on for your unit to teach during your full-time student weeks, or that you want to pursue for your TPA assessment, then by all means, you can keep this separate. If it seems to work and you want to use it for that, then great. You can double dip and do less planning. You will only need to turn in 3 to 5 lessons, preferably 3 to me, and they do have to be an integrated STEM focus. So hopefully that helps in choosing your topic. You can just respond in this specific forum as to what is your content area. The other thing I want you to do is, unlike last term where you planned a unit from scratch, this time you're going to actually pick some curriculum to start with, and then you're going to modify it to fit. You may have to integrate. So for instance, maybe it just has science, technology, and math in it, and you have to add in some engineering. Or maybe it has just the science and technology, and you're going to add in the engineering and math. But you do have to have all 4 of those areas, in addition to also probably most easily added is literacy. So some sort of reading or writing standard as well. So with that in mind, you're going to I have some suggestions for curriculum that are free, easily accessible. Those are under the curriculum ideas in the resources. So these, you can pick just one of these, maybe try to find something that aligns with some content you're going to be teaching. And then you can choose just one single lesson if that works, and then you can add on to it. You can modify the lesson, or you can pick 3 lessons out of a whole unit. Some of these would be units rather than just lessons. Some of these are just individual lessons. So pick something that aligns with what you want to do. Secondly, if you already have some curriculum that you're teaching with, most of you do, you can use that curriculum and you can just modify it to create a STEM unit. So if you're just teaching chemistry and you have a chemistry curriculum, you can definitely start with 2 or 3 lessons out of a chemistry unit and then modify it to incorporate the other content areas. You're not required to teach this unit in your classroom. So even if it's just you do the planning and that's as far as you go with it this term, that's great. You don't have to actually teach it. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of where to start, how to get started on that, and to pick your topic and your curriculum. And then we will move forward with that next week in starting the planning. So just this week I kind of jogged your memory about backwards design. We'll be using that process. So thinking about that as you identify the standards, identify the content moving forward. But this week, all you have to do is identify the curriculum and the content area that you're going to be focusing on. So pretty easy for this week. Again, you have some things to look at in terms of equity from last week. Hopefully you reviewed these resources. You're going to use this classroom equity checklist this week to do some surveying of your own educational environment. And then next week, you're going to use that to complete the equity action plan. You'll be doing a quick, brief presentation of that activity plan or action plan during our in-person meeting on Saturday, the 28th. You will just present informally to each other. You don't have to create a presentation. So I look forward to seeing what you choose for your STEM projects, and also your insights on equity and STEM and how those intertwine in the current environment where we teach those. So I hope you have a good week, and I will see you again next week.